I'm Matty Aubourg, a research associate and faculty member at the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health in the Department of Environmental Health and Engineering. I've been working and researching alongside residents and community-based organizations in Curtis Bay and South Baltimore for the past few years to address residents' long-standing health and quality of life concerns related to the CSX coal terminal. As of this week, a key component of our collaborative work has been peer-reviewed and accepted for publication in the Science of the Total Environment Journal. This peer-reviewed work confirms the presence of coal dust in residential areas of Curtis Bay at two locations, one being about 1,000 feet away from the coal terminal and the other being about 3/4 of a mile away at the Benjamin Franklin High School. So the question of whether or not the Curtis Bay community is exposed to coal dust is answered. And it's an answer that supports, again, what residents have been observing and reporting and fighting against for decades. This black dust, which they know to be coal dust, making its way into their homes here in Curtis Bay. And despite existing dust suppression measures, which MDE has already said today are inadequate. So these aren't new answers, only new evidence. We also have video evidence of multiple dust events originating from the coal terminal and its activities as recently as September 5th on camera. I have seen a dust event with my own eyes too, which I've also captured on camera. This new draft permit includes the construction of a physical barrier or barriers, and these can be open to the atmosphere above the pile, and the type of material that they are constructed from is also unspecified. Having seen fugitive dust events at this facility, where the height of the piles are vastly exceeded, this brings me to pose a question about whether these drafted requirements for a barrier or enclosure at the facility are truly enough to prevent fugitive dust emissions from the facility. Changing my hat to a private citizen, and as someone who has spent a significant amount of time in the community as a non-resident, I wholeheartedly and full-throatedly echo the community's calls for this facility to be held accountable for its proven pollution and residents' justified safety concerns, especially with the 2021 explosion. And I'd like to be clear, there is no reasonable level of danger to human health, as was mentioned earlier. Being near the coal terminal myself, I've experienced nasal, respiratory, eye irritation just from standing outside nearby. I can only imagine living here for decades and having your family be here for generations. I've heard residents' testimonies about black beads of sweat rolling down their kids' faces. I've heard residents, local workers, talk about their family and friends being in this community, dying from black lung manifestations and respiratory disease. I've heard mothers talk about their kids being frozen in fear during the explosion at the coal terminal. I've seen and heard youth in this community be outraged about the presence of this facility right in their backyards and call to action to do something about it. We spent lots of time here asking questions, looking for answers, and listening, but it's time that we start taking not only environmental sustainability, but environmental justice seriously. And it's long past due that we see some action, and the time is right now. Thank you.